We're going to talk about Jason Bourne very shortly after we hear a clip and we hear from the stars of the film, Matt Damon, Alicia Vikander, Julia Stiles and Tommy Lee Jones.
Bourne, my name is Heather Lee. I'm not in charge here. I wasn't here when you went missing. I can see you going through the old Treadstone files. Retracing your history. I know you're looking for something. Let me help you find it.
Give me that phone.
Yes, sir.
Jason, this is Robert Dewey. Do you remember me?
Jason, your dad was a patriot.
He could see the threats that America was facing, and like you, he chose to serve his country
Out of a profound sense of duty.
He would not want to see you harm the agency.
You have to stop this. And you have to stop it now.
It's been a defining role in my life and my career, and it's enabled me to kind of choose roles with reckless abandon because I always had the safety of a Bourne movie kind of around the corner, and I could choose all of my roles without a lot of the considerations that actors sometimes have to make about, you try to guess, how's the movie going to do at the box office? Is it going to find an audience? All that kind of stuff. And I've been kind of inoculated from that because of this role. So I mean, I've always been incredibly grateful to Doug Liman for giving me the part, 16 years ago. And I'm sure I'll always be associated with this role, and kind of no matter what else I do, to do something 4 separate times in your career, it's gonna follow you around. But I don't mind being followed around by Jason Bourne. I like Jason Bourne.
It's always a wonderful thing when you suddenly get invited or get the chance to do a role which is completely different from anything you've done before. This was, and then also I must consider myself being a huge Bourne fan. I've watched the series of the trilogy many times. I even think I told Paul when I met him the first time during our meeting that me and my girlfriends that I used to share a flat with in London on Sundays when we didn't have really anything to do, we were like, oh, what should we do? Let's just watch Bourne again. So I was well into the whole franchise before I was invited, so I was just extremely excited to come on board.
I was really impressed again with Paul's writing. Like when I first read that there was going to be the bare knuckle boxing and that's where we find him, it impressed me that he describes in the script, and I think you see it in this scene, that it's almost masochistic. In other action movies, the hero would have to be pummeling everyone else, but Paul's more interested in the psychology behind why Jason Bourne's there, and so the fact that he's allowing himself to take punches because he feels so guilty about all the damage that he's caused is fascinating, I think, and adds another layer to what could otherwise be really superficial.
What makes him different is he keeps the cameras in movement, in motion all the time. I've almost never seen a fixed frame. Maybe in some of the car chases, but I doubt it. There's a big, beautiful crane on top of one of these cars, and that thing's moving in all directions at once. He uses multiple cameras in practically every setup, whether it be in a studio or on a location, and they're all moving. They're either handheld, they're on a slide tray, they're on a dolly track, they're hanging from a bungee cord. They're laying on a sandbag and being moved around. These guys do just about anything to keep the lens in motion.
This is definitely on another level. I mean, shutting down Las Vegas Boulevard is on the last movie, on Ultimatum, I remember standing in the middle of 6th Avenue and just, because we shut down like a couple blocks of 6th Avenue. And I remember thinking, this is totally insane. Having lived in New York for a long time, I go like, I'm standing in 6th Avenue, at 10:30 in the morning. And I just had that feeling the other night when I was down on Las Vegas Boulevard, just standing in the middle of Las Vegas Boulevard. It's massive. Like I can't even wrap my brain around the scale of what we're doing. But hopefully that's what people are going to want in the third act. It's something bigger than we've done.
Matt Damon, Alicia Vikander, Julia Stiles and Tommy Lee Jones, the cast of Jason Bourne. However,
yes.
Let's do it.
So it's been 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
9 years since the Bourne Ultimatum. I've just rewatched the first 3 this week, and it's the words I can describe this trilogy with are not enough to express my love for it, because it's such a good trilogy. It really is. I mean,
It is, yeah. It's a great trilogy.
I mean, it's been a long time since I saw them, so it was such a joy to rewatch them again. Just pick up on all the things I loved originally. when I
yeah,
watched
I've
them.
not rewatched them since I saw them first time.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So, and the thing is with the films, they sort of get incrementally better as they go on. You know, Identity was probably one of the best characterization. Supremacy was probably the best thriller out of them. Number 3 was probably the best film out of them, probably in terms of action as well, and the whole rounded story of it. And it's a fantastic trilogy full of great hallmarks. And obviously, it's the trilogy that inspired the Bond remake. It's what brought Bourne back from the brink, essentially. So this time, 9 years later, we're not going to talk about the Bourne legacy. Let's not talk about the Bourne legacy. It doesn't exist. And in this one, it's the new chapter. But basically, there are shenanigans going down, and Nikki Parsons, played by Julia Stiles, who is back, which is a nice bit of continuity. She is in Reykjavik in Iceland, and she has found files when she hacked into the system that might have key information for Jason Bourne regarding his father. As they meet in Athens to divulge this information, they end up going in the run, and things happen, and he gets pulled back into it gradually as Tommy Lee Jones and, well, who's the new director, Director Dewey, and Alicia Vikander's new sort of spearheading, really ambitious understudy is on the run and wants to bring, she's looking for Bourne, who's on the run, and wants to bring Bourne back into the fold, because believes she can get him back in. And, you know, a lot of the things about Jason Bourne, I mean, there was, for me, and I was wondering how they were going to take this, because there's one, and I know what the people who are listening right now, you're probably going to hear a massively different opinion when in this. I'm going to try and not say too much about this, because I want to hear the barrage that's probably going to come here. But for me, at least, I feel like this was at least a natural progression of the story, because if they had to do it, I would have liked it to have been Greengrass and Damon, and that's what we get. And I feel like they do it service enough to not make it tacky in a way that the story feels unnaturally developed. There's no sort of retcon developments in there regarding his past. It's a new chapter of his story that is opened up, and I feel like if there will be sequels, because obviously there will be sequels now, there is a new chapter for him to go in, and I feel like the new characters, when they're brought in, Tommy Lee Jones, I guess I'll peel it back a little bit. The trilogy of Bourne has a lot of hallmarks and a lot of sort of traditions that it adheres to. It's got the typical people going, oh my god, it's Jason Bourne. It's got Matt Damon walking hurriedly, holding someone, trying to get them out of the way. It's got those cliches in it that make Bourne Bourne. And in this one, there's more of those, and they work because of that, because they adhere to the formula. And that isn't a bad thing, for me at least. Tommy Lee Jones is another director, just like Brian Cox and just like Noah Vosen in the third one as well. They are all working together as their own sort of entities. They are the crusty directors who go after Bourne, and Alicia Vikander coming in offers something new and fresh as this ambitious, steadfast director who wants to, well, I'm person for us to say, who wants to do something good with her career, and I feel like she injects that new energy into the series that it so desperately needed if it was going to come back like this. And most of all, above all, is the fact that Bourne as a character seems to be renewed a little bit by the fact that he is going to never find any peace, as Tommy Lee Jones says in the trailer. And if you're going to do another Bourne trilogy, I don't know if that's what they plan to do, but probably. Now if this new one, if they're going to do another Bourne trilogy, you make it about the character of Bourne and you dial it back to what else is there to tell about this past. Well, maybe it's about telling his future now as well, that he is not going to have any happiness ever, because things happen which make his life even more depressing, which I won't spoil. But essentially, at the end as well, there's a climactic fight in a very dingy location in Las Vegas, which is complete contrast to the climactic Las Vegas set piece, which I think is a great sort of thematic sort of contrast in the fact that you're in that glamorous location and then you have this grotty fist fight near the end, which is great for me to see. And just to be honest, if you're going to do the next chapter of Jason Bourne, this is for me how they should have gone, and I'm glad they've gone this direction. So here we go.
The funny thing is, right, what you've said, I actually kind of mostly agree with. I think all the stuff that do in that direction is good, and I think that is, if it's going to make more, fine. Then I like the direction they're going in. Problem is, a few things. You keep saying if they have to make another one, which of course they have. The resolution there is they shouldn't have. They didn't have to. And something I want to bring back that Matt Damon said from I've prepared from 2007. He said, "Here
we go.
We've ridden that horse as far as we can." In relation to making another one.
Yeah, but actors and directors say that all the time, and then they come up with some of the best sequels that you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, but they've not made the best sequel.
It's just about having the right idea, isn't it?
Yeah,
and for me at least,
and
this is the right idea.
And they've because they haven't even mentioned the whole thing of this film is Deep Dream with Riz Ahmed's
Ah,
character.
yeah. So
See, exactly.
essentially-
Even you've
yeah.
forgotten about it because
Yeah.
it was so boring,
Yeah,
rubbish.
Yeah, the hook in this film
Okay,
is essentially...
that is a hook that is literally just made for the ending, and know that like it's just to make Tommy Lee Jones like a big bad, and he's just compared to Brian Cox's character, compared to Albert Finney's character in the other trilogy, he's more of a villainous because they kind of seem like they had like a reason, like legitimate like concerns of like security and stuff for America. But Tommy, it just seems like a villain.
Essentially in this new one, Tommy Lee Jones's director is working with Riz Ahmed's character, who is essentially a social media guru, and he wants to use Ahmed's platform Deep Dream to sort of be like a massive NSA. They've got 1.5 billion users, essentially a massive spy network to invade privacy and defend. Well, be a patriot essentially. Obviously, he's not being a patriot, and it is forgettable, to be honest.
It's rubbish.
I mean,
It's
I wasn't
rubbish.
as irritated by it as some people were. It was a bit unnecessary, and I would have liked to have a bit more spotlight on Bourne in those scenes. But again, you know, it propelled the plot forward a bit, I guess. But yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, very forgettable in that part.
And you say about Greengrass and Damon, you know, like, if it was going to be another one, it had to be them. So you've got Greengrass, you've got Damon. Why is it this poor?
I don't feel it. This is the contrast. I feel like even now.
Why is it so subpar that you could put it in? You know, in. I don't know if it's lacking something. I mean, there's a lack of the second unit director. It's a lot is being put down on the fact that it could be that the second unit director / stunt coordinator is gone, and that means
also
and that means that those set pieces like the Las Vegas one aren't quite as impressive as they want you to think they are. They're big in spectacle, but really that impressive?
Just to add to your point there,
No.
the fact that Tony Gilroy, the original scriptwriter, is not there because he is apparently not very in favour with Damon. Well, I mean, supposedly he doesn't like Greengrass and Damon because he felt that because when they did the original trilogy, Gilroy wanted the script to be exact, but Greengrass is a director who likes to change the script as they're shooting, and Damon believes that the director should have the final say, so they sided. So they've probably had a falling out, and I can see Gilroy's influence.
And that's it. It feels like scattershot and dumb. Like Bourne should pride itself on the first three films being very intelligent, very interesting, very thematically heavy films, to then have this, which is kind of just blockbuster fare. That's what it boiled down to, absolute blockbuster, pretty much Liam Neeson level of blech.
It was very predictable, especially with Vincent Cassel's character Asset. It was very straight away. It was just like,
I do feel like
boring,
it was the fact that it made it more personal because they made him sympathetic.
I get like, that, but
sympathetic.
They made Vincent Cassel's character a bit sympathetic.
Nah,
well, not really.
Because
like, I mean,
they kind of pull like what we'll not spoil what happens, but they kind of do pull like when it's revealed, it's kind of like a 180, and it kind of leaves me confused.
Because I do understand like some things involving his characters we can't see are very forced in there, but the fact that his character isn't like Desh in Supremacy, who was sort of like that faceless asset who is terrifying in his own way. He's more like the asset in Bourne Ultimatum, who, spoilers for a 9-year-old movie, who chooses not to shoot Bourne at the end because it makes it more personal in that way because it showcases his humanity a bit more. I feel like it sort of brings out the best of him because they have got a rivalry and they have got a personal thing about it. But yeah, I agree. I can understand totally why you say it, but I feel like, I don't know, Greengrass, even though it's been so long, it still feels so frenetic and fresh to this day for me.
It feels frenetic to the point of dizzying. I think it's just loose and not as tight and precise as it was.
One of the worst things plot-wise as well, I'll say this earlier, I really do think Jason Bourne's character is especially sloppy in this one. Really bad. Like, I mean, what kind of spoil it? It's the same where, there's the same where Alicia Vikander gives him his phone. What happened to the days when literally Jason Bourne would, he would get 2 burner phones and everything like that, and he gets the fight scene with the hacker and just everything. He doesn't feel like. There were scenes where I was just thinking, where am I, Jason?
He's getting older.
I know you're getting older, but how you're meant to be the ultimate weapon.
But I mean, there's coincidence in every kind of film. Come on, there's coincidence. There's plenty of coincidence in the originals.
No.
How coincidental must you be to escape all of the FBI agents and CIA agents constantly in the original trilogy?
Yeah, original.
Yeah, but he knew the route and everything. Like he says in literally one of the scenes in the first one, he knows the route for everything. He knows the license plate. He knows
his name.
He knows his name. Right. But I don't know. He just felt a lot sloppier in this one.
I think, and especially dialogue-wise, the script is not as good. It's definitely not as good. The sort of cliche-ridden. I mean, Alicia Vikander in this film. I mean, to have an Academy Award winner in your film is great. But if you don't give her anything interesting to say or anything interesting to do, if you put her in a computer room for the majority of the film,
oh my god.
The amount of time spent in a computer room where it's like sort of poking with a stick going, look, isn't it, like with a camera the way it is, like, isn't it interesting cameras and computers? No, not
there
really.
was two things. Enhance.
Yeah.
Did you enhance in the original trilogy?
No.
They do.
No. Well, that's cheesy. You know, that's bad then. That's really bad.
They do enhance in the trilogy.
Bad. I don't care about that. Even that is bad. Enhance and the hacking with a phone and hacking.
They do that in the original. They hack loads of phones in the trilogy.
It's boring.
It's even more boring now because the entire film is consumed by the whole Snowden thing. The whole thing about Snowden. Just.
It's trying to bring Bourne up to date. I mean,
it doesn't need to.
The social media thing.
It doesn't need to. It doesn't need to.
That's what Bourne was. That's why Bourne was so cutting edge originally, because it's so. Yeah, it was up to date with what people expected of a spy movie in those days. After 9/11, people didn't want Bond campiness. They wanted something pushy and a bit more grounded. But it still manages to stay like that.
But they have failed. They've tried to bring it to the modern day, and they've failed because essentially computer hacking isn't that interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, one example that springs to mind, Mr. Robot is kind of getting a lot of praise for making it interesting, but this doesn't. It really doesn't.
And with Greengrass, I feel like his style has now been at least a bit perfected, because in Supremacy it is still a bit raw, and that was the second one. The fact that the fight with the asset and that is very sloppy, and in Ultimatum and now this one, he has sort of perfected his style a little bit. At least that's what I feel. I feel like I want you to go on, please. I'll open the floor.
I think
barrage.
The final fight in Ultimatum was probably the ultimate of that. I think it was the best he's done. But in this one, even the end scene, obviously we can't see fight 2, but even that was terrible. I don't know.
I just like the contrast between Vegas and then the grotty.
When I see a fight scene, I actually like to see it. I don't like it enshrouded in darkness. Especially when it's no.
Yeah.
Even that can work well, but no, I don't.
I think the best fight scene in the whole franchise is probably the Desh fight. Yeah. In Ultimatum.
That's when I like it best, when it's proper Bourne, hand-to-hand combat. The final scene with Vincent Cassel, it's quite punchy because there's no soundtrack or anything. It's quite raw, and I sort of liked that bit. And I wanted kind of more of that, and it didn't deliver. The trailer when that came out, I noticed straight away, because we see it a lot of times. We see a lot of films. We see the trailer a lot of times. The trailer is monotonous. All the lines are delivered at the exact same sort of register, and then the film kind of is too. So it's quite dull to listen to, not just watch. A lot
of the lines in the trailer aren't delivered the way they are in the film, though.
Yeah, but in the film they're just as boring. On a whole, I didn't find it a very interesting cinema experience for a trilogy that was so good. It did not need to be brought to speed like this. There's plenty of other franchises doing that much better, and there's plenty more that will do it much better that don't need the Bourne tag on them. If you get what I mean. I don't know. And bringing back to what Joe said about technical stuff, my dad was with me when we saw it, and he is a computer programmer, and full of nonsense. There's like 3 little firewalls on the screen. They go, oh my god, they brought down 2 of the firewalls. It's like, that's not how it happens. It's just not how it happens. Oh well.
I don't know.
Ryan likes it. Me and Joe, not so much.
And compared to the other 3 films as well, it's kind of bad that my heart never raced or anything. For such an apparent frenetic style, nah.
My stomach just grumbled the whole time, like, oh god.
Even headache, no headache, just nothing.
Like, I totally get what you mean, and these are all valid concerns, and I feel like, just for me at least, I enjoyed it because it focuses again on the character of Bourne. It doesn't try too much to be something that it isn't, which again it might be a flaw, which I feel like it is for you.
It sets the bar very low.
But it's because it sticks to that formula. It's its greatest flaw as well as its greatest strength, because by focusing on the character of Bourne again, you open up new aspects of his character that people have not seen before, and that rapport he has with Alicia Vikander, who I think absolutely steals the show, because she is ambitious and headstrong and really, really talented in this film. The fact that they have such a good rapport opens up new character arcs for them to go in future films.
Sadly, I'm not interested in them.
That's the thing. A trilogy that was so good has now killed off a lot of fans.
I've got a feeling now if they keep on with it more, okay, but for now, if they just leave it this, it'll be like, it's kind of like a legacy thing. It'll be the Bourne trilogy and Jason Bourne.
Yeah, where do you even go with this next? Like, what do you call it? Jason Bourne 2? Jason Bourne ellipsis Reborn or something?
Jason Reborn?
No,
you went
bad.
there.
No.
No, you went there. And that's why this series has to stop.
Finding Bourne, like I said earlier.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think it need to be made. I cannot recommend it. I just go by the box set and then just turn off your TV and just go, right, well, that's the end of that then. I look forward to the next something else, but not Jason Bourne.
Fair enough.
That's
Does that feel good to get off your chest?
No, it doesn't. Because it doesn't feel good to rant about something I liked so much. It shouldn't give anybody any pleasure who liked the Bourne films so much to have to do this. But it's not good. And I understand where you're coming from. I understand where we're all coming from.
Yeah.
I just disagree.
Fair enough.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it?
Well, let's just hope that I can make a better one for years next time.
What, in 2017, 2018?
2018, probably.
2018, when there's more money to be made, because it's made lots of money. Let's not forget, that's what it's all about now. You know, screw integrity, screw the fact that we made a really good trilogy. Let's just make money. Paul, are you going to make more money? You're going to make more money for Universal?
There are 9 Bourne novels, just so you know.
Great. I look forward to 4 more films.
Only the first 3 were written by Robert Ludlum, I think.
Greengrass himself said in an interview with Simon Mayo that he was unsure what the reception would be. Even he was uncertain of how good his film was, and he's right to be, because it's